Chosen one, why have you been waking up at 2:47 a.m. for the past 3 weeks? Your heart pounding like you just ran a marathon. But you haven't moved an inch. Why does your chest feel like it's carrying the weight of eternity? And you can't explain it to anyone because they'll think you've lost your mind. Listen to me carefully, beloved. What if I told you that restlessness isn't insomnia? It's intercession. What if those sleepless nights aren't your body failing you, but heaven preparing you for something so massive that your spirit is already vibrating at a frequency this world can't contain? Right now, this very second, there's a divine stopwatch ticking over your life. And every beat of your heart, every shallow breath you're taking as you watch this, is synchronized with heaven's countdown. You feel it, don't you? That electricity in the air around you. That's not anxiety. That's anticipation. Divine anticipation. Something is stirring in the spiritual realm that's about to shatter every limitation you've accepted, every delay you've endured, every night you've cried out, "How long, Lord?" The answer is dropping from heaven's throne room like lightning, and it's heading straight for your address. But here's what's terrifying hell right now. They know you're listening. They know your spirit just leaped when I said those words. They know you're one of the chosen ones who can feel the shift before it happens. That's why they've been working overtime to convince you nothing's changing, that you're just getting older, that your best days are behind you. That's a lie from the pit of darkness. The creator of the universe has been downloading something into your DNA for months, years, maybe your entire lifetime. And tonight, right here, right now, heaven is hitting the execute button on your destiny. If your spirit is already trembling, if something deep inside you just whispered, "Yes, that's me." If you feel that holy electricity coursing through your veins right now, type AMEN in the comments below. That's not just a word. That's you telling the armies of heaven, "I'm awake. I'm ready. I'm receiving whatever you're about to release." Before we journey deeper into this divine moment together, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and plant that seed of faith, because what I'm about to reveal will explain why you felt different your entire life, why ordinary conversation feels like speaking a foreign language, and why something inside you has been counting down to this exact moment since the day you took your first breath. Something is happening sooner than you think, and if you ignore this, you may miss the most important divine encounter of your lifetime. The countdown has begun. Why does it feel like God has your phone number blocked? Why do your prayers seem to bounce off heaven's ceiling like rubber balls hitting concrete? Why have you been faithful for 70, 80, 90 years, and yet you're still sitting in that same worn-out recliner, wondering if the Almighty forgot your address? Dear one, let me paint you a picture that might break your heart open, because I know it's your story. It's 3:17 a.m., and you're staring at that water stain on the ceiling again. Your arthritis is flaring up, your social security check barely covers the electric bill, and your own children call maybe twice a month if you're lucky. The house that once buzzed with family dinners and Christmas mornings now echoes with nothing but the hum of the refrigerator and the tick of that old grandfather clock. You've been asking the same question for decades. God, are you still there? Here's what's crushing your spirit right now. You watch your neighbors half your age get promotions, new cars, grandchildren who actually visit. You see people who've never darkened a church door living in abundance, while you who've tithed faithfully, served on every committee, prayed for everyone else's breakthrough, you're clipping coupons just to buy generic cereal. The silence from heaven feels deafening, doesn't it? Every morning you wake up to the same four walls, the same medications lined up on your kitchen counter, the same doctor appointments that deliver nothing but more bad news. Your knees creak when you stand. Your memory isn't what it used to be. And that voice in your head whispers, maybe you missed it. Maybe your time is over. But what if I told you something that would shatter every lie you've believed about your silence? Joseph spent 13 years in a pit and a prison, forgotten by everyone except the God who was positioning him for a palace. Moses wandered 40 years in a desert wilderness, thinking his calling had died with that Egyptian he buried in the sand. But God wasn't punishing them. He was preparing them. Your silence isn't abandonment, beloved. It's preparation. Your waiting isn't God's forgetfulness. It's His faithfulness to perfect what He started in you. Every sleepless night you've endured has been building your capacity to carry what's coming. Every tear you've cried in secret has been watering seeds of purpose you can't even see yet. Every door that slammed in your face wasn't rejection. It was redirection towards something greater than your human mind could have planned. The weight you've been carrying isn't punishment. It's pregnancy. You're about to give birth to something that will shock your family, stun your community, and silence every voice that ever said your best days were behind you. If you've ever felt abandoned by heaven, if you've ever wondered if God still hears your voice, if you've ever questioned whether your faith was worth the loneliness, write in the comments right now, "I'm still waiting." Because tonight, dear chosen one, your wait ends. But what happens next will require you to trust something that defies everything this world taught you about aging, about limitations, about what's possible when heaven finally breaks its silence. Chosen one, let me ask you something that's going to cut straight to your soul. Why has your body been betraying you lately? Why do you feel like you're carrying invisible weights on your shoulders? Why does getting out of bed feel like climbing Mount Everest when you used to leap up at dawn? You've been calling it aging. You've been blaming it on stress. You've been convinced something's wrong with you. But what if I told you something that will shatter everything you think you know about your current condition? What if your exhaustion isn't weakness, but divine anesthesia? Listen carefully, because heaven is about to perform the most sacred surgery of your lifetime, and your body is being prepared for an operation that will transform your very DNA. Right now, as I speak these words, the great physician is administering spiritual sedation to chosen ones across this nation. Think about it. When a surgeon needs to perform life-saving surgery, what's the first thing they do? They put you under. They sedate your conscious mind so it won't interfere with the procedure. And beloved, that's exactly what the Almighty is doing to you right now. Your nervous system isn't failing you. It's being rewired. Every fiber of your being is being restructured for a calling so powerful that your natural strength couldn't handle it. Isaiah 40:31 promises something that will blow your mind. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. But here's the word that's going to change everything. The Hebrew word for renew doesn't just mean refresh. It means exchange. God isn't just giving you more of what you had. He's exchanging your human limitations for His divine power. Tonight, many of you will feel a supernatural heaviness settling over your chest. Your limbs will feel weighted down. Your eyelids will grow heavy. Don't fight it. Don't resist it. That's not fatigue, dear one. That's the presence of the Almighty Himself, holding you still while He performs the most intricate spiritual surgery you've ever experienced. You think you're getting weaker, but God is installing supernatural strength. You think you're slowing down, but heaven is uploading divine acceleration into your spirit. You think you're breaking down, but the master surgeon is actually rebuilding you from the inside out. Every cell in your body is being recalibrated. Every thought pattern is being rewired. Every limitation you've accepted is being extracted from your spiritual DNA and replaced with the unlimited power of the God who spoke galaxies into existence. But here's the urgency burning in my spirit right now. This divine surgery has a window. This spiritual anesthesia won't last forever. And if you fight it, if you resist the heaviness, if you try to push through when God is telling you to be still, you will miss the most important upgrade of your eternal existence. If your body has been heavy lately, if you felt that unexplainable exhaustion, if something deep inside you is confirming these words right now, type in the comments, "I receive the surgery." Because heaven is already working, and your agreement unlocks the final phase of your transformation. But what comes after this divine surgery will require a strength you've never possessed, and a calling that will shake the very foundations of everything you thought you knew about your purpose on this earth. You know what nobody talks about in church? The Saturday. Not Good Friday when Jesus died, that's dramatic. That gets sermons. Not Easter Sunday when he rose, that gets celebration. But Saturday. That silent, suffocating Saturday when the disciples huddled in that upper room, wondering if they'd wasted 3 years of their lives following a dead man. That's where you've been living, isn't it? In the Saturday silence. You buried your husband of 47 years and felt like half your soul went into that grave with him. You watched your children grow up and move 3,000 miles away, calling once a month if you're lucky. You prayed for that healing, that breakthrough, that miracle for 20, 30, 40 years, and heaven stayed silent as stone. Saturday, the day when everything looks finished, but nothing feels complete. Listen to me, dear one. While those disciples were locked away in fear, thinking their Messiah was rotting in a tomb, something magnificent was happening in the depths. The same power that spoke galaxies into existence was working in absolute silence. Death itself was being conquered. Hell's gates were being shattered. The greatest victory in human history was unfolding, and nobody could see it. You think God forgot your address? You think your prayers bounced off heaven's ceiling and fell to the floor? No, beloved. While you've been living in Saturday silence, divine forces have been moving mountains you can't see, opening doors you haven't found yet, orchestrating a comeback that will leave hell trembling. Matthew 27-62 tells us the Pharisees were so terrified of what might happen, they posted guards at the tomb. They knew something was stirring. They could feel it in their bones. The enemy always knows when resurrection is coming. That's why the attacks intensify right before your breakthrough. How many nights have you laid awake wondering if you missed your moment? How many times have you looked in the mirror and whispered, "God, did I waste the life you gave me?" How many mornings have you woken up feeling like you're just marking time until heaven calls you home? That's not decline, precious soul. That's divine tension. You're living in the space between the promise and the performance, between the prophecy and the proof. You're in Saturday, but Sunday is coming. Every unanswered prayer wasn't ignored, it was invested. Every delay wasn't denial, it was divine strategy. Every moment you felt forgotten, God was working behind the scenes, setting up a resurrection so powerful it will make up for every year the locusts ate. Your dreams aren't dead, they're dormant. Your calling isn't cancelled, it's camouflaged. Your purpose isn't past tense, it's present continuous, building momentum in the silence. The tomb couldn't hold Jesus. The grave can't hold your breakthrough. Mark this down, your Sunday morning is coming sooner than you think. The stone is already rolling away. The grave clothes are already loosening. Death is about to give up what it thought it had stolen from you. If this word is hitting your spirit like lightning right now, if something deep inside you just stirred awake after years of sleeping, shout in the comments, "My Sunday is near. Let heaven hear your voice." Let hell know you're still fighting. Let the silence know its time is up. Because when God decides to move from Saturday to Sunday, it doesn't take 72 hours. It takes 72 seconds. The countdown to your resurrection has already begun, and you're about to discover just how close Sunday really is. Let me ask you something that's going to cut straight to your heart, dear one. Why are you at 78 years old? After tithing faithfully for 6 decades, why are you standing in that pharmacy line calculating whether you can afford both your blood pressure, medication, and groceries this week? Why are faithful saints in their 70s and 80s choosing between heating their homes and feeding their bodies? Why are God's most devoted servants clipping coupons with arthritic fingers while prosperity preachers fly in private jets? Something is fundamentally wrong with this picture. You've given your whole life to the kingdom. You've sowed seeds when your own ground was barren. You've paid tithes when your bank account was screaming. You've supported missions while your own roof leaked. And where has it gotten you? Worried about whether Social Security will cover next month's rent. But listen to me carefully. Chosen one. What if I told you that every single sacrifice, every dollar you gave when you couldn't afford to give, every offering you placed in those collection plates with trembling hands. What if all of that has been accumulating compound interest in heaven's treasury for decades? Proverbs 13:22 declares with thunderous authority, "The wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous." Not might be stored up, not could be stored up, is stored up. Present tense, already allocated, already assigned to your name. While you've been struggling to make ends meet, there's been a vault in heaven with your account number on it. While you've been rationing medication, God's been calculating interest on your faithfulness. While you've been wondering if you'll have enough, He's been preparing to overwhelm you with more than enough. But this isn't lottery money, beloved. This isn't get-rich-quick schemes or casino winnings. This is kingdom wealth divine transfer from the storehouses of heaven directly into the hands of those who've proven they can be trusted with eternal treasures. Your prayers in 1972, when you cried out for provision, God heard them. Your tears in 1997, when the medical bills buried you, He collected every drop. Your desperate cries in 2020, when everything shut down, He recorded them all. And now, right now, Heaven's accounting department is processing the compound interest on 5 decades of faithfulness. The world told you to retire. The culture whispered you should settle into your golden years quietly. Society convinced you your productive days were over. But God is saying something completely different. He's saying, this is not retirement, it's redeployment. You're not winding down, warrior. You're being wound up. You're not being put out to pasture. You're being positioned for overflow. The very age the world sees as limitation, heaven sees as qualification. Every wrinkle on your face represents wisdom. Every grey hair is a crown of honor. Every year you've walked with God has been building spiritual equity that's about to pay dividends that will leave your children speechless. The transfer is coming. Not someday. Not eventually. Sooner than you think. If you're ready to stop surviving and start thriving, if you're ready to stop counting pennies and start counting blessings, if you're ready for kingdom wealth to flood into your golden years, type in the comments right now, I am stepping into overflow, because what I'm about to reveal next will show you exactly how this divine transfer is going to manifest in your life. You've been carrying this ache your entire life, haven't you? That gnawing feeling deep in your chest that whispers you don't belong here. At family gatherings, you sit quietly in the corner while everyone else seems to speak the same language. Small talk about weather and gossip, but your soul yearns for conversations about eternity. At church, while others nod politely during sermons, something inside you burns with a fire they can't see. They called you too sensitive when you were 7 years old and cried watching the evening news. They said you were too much when you asked your Sunday school teacher why bad things happened to good people. They told you to calm down when injustice made your spirit rage with holy fire. But what if I told you something that would shatter everything you believed about yourself? That wasn't weakness. That was God's fingerprint on your soul. Listen to me, dear one. Before your mother even knew she was carrying you, before your father chose your name, before the doctor slapped your lungs awake, the Almighty God looked down through the corridors of time and marked you. Jeremiah 1-5 declares with thunderous authority, "Before I formed you in the womb I knew you. Before you were born I set you apart." Set apart. Not set aside. Not forgotten. Not damaged. Set apart. Do you understand what that means? While other children were being formed for comfortable lives, you were being crafted for kingdom purpose. While others received the gift of fitting in, you received the burden and blessing of standing out. While they were given shallow roots, God gave you deep ones, roots that could withstand the storms He knew were coming. But here's where the enemy played his most vicious trick. He convinced you that your difference was your defect. He whispered lies that your sensitivity was mental illness. He made you believe that your deep thoughts were signs of depression. He turned your greatest strength, your ability to feel God's heart, into what you thought was your greatest weakness. Every rejection you faced wasn't random. Every door that slammed in your face wasn't coincidence. Every time you felt like an outsider looking in, that was the enemy trying to bury what God had planted. But here's what Satan didn't know. And here's what will set you free tonight. You weren't buried, beloved. You were planted. Think about a seed. When you plant it in the ground, it disappears completely. For weeks, maybe months, there's no sign of life. The soil looks empty, dead, forgotten. But beneath the surface, in the darkness, something miraculous is happening. That seed is dying to what it was, so it can become what it was destined to be. You've been underground, haven't you? Hidden in seasons that felt like death. Buried under disappointment, loss, rejection, pain. But every single day you spent in that spiritual soil, God was working. Your roots were growing deeper. Your spiritual DNA was activating. Your calling was germinating. The enemy tried to bury you, but what he didn't know, God was planting you for this moment. Right now, something is breaking through the surface. That restlessness you feel isn't discontent, it's destiny stirring. That ache in your chest isn't emptiness, it's expansion. Your soul is getting ready to bloom in a way that will shock even you. But let me address the lie that's been poisoning your mind for decades. I'm too old. My time has passed. God uses young people for big things. Stop. Right. There. Anna the prophetess was 84 years old when she recognized the Messiah in the temple. 84. While everyone else walked past baby Jesus, this elderly woman's spirit leaped with recognition. Her age wasn't her limitation, it was her qualification. She had 84 years of waiting, watching, believing that prepared her eyes to see what others missed. Moses was 80 when God called him from the burning bush to deliver an entire nation. 80. The world would have put him in a nursing home, but heaven put him on the front lines of the greatest liberation in human history. His wrinkles weren't signs of weakness, they were marks of wisdom. His grey hair wasn't evidence of decline, it was a crown of experience. Your age isn't disqualifying you, it's qualifying you. Every year you've lived, every trial you've survived, every season you've endured has been building something inside you that the younger generation simply cannot possess. Unshakable faith forged in the furnace of real life. The world needs what you carry. This generation is drowning in information but starving for wisdom. They have access to everything but understanding of nothing. And you who have walked with God through valleys they've never seen, you carry the compass they desperately need. If you've ever been told you're too old, too late, too damaged, too different, type in the comments right now, I am marked. Because it's time to stop apologizing for the very thing that makes you dangerous to darkness and precious to heaven. Something is stirring in you that's been dormant for decades, and the timing isn't accidental, it's appointed. Chosen ones, as we reach the end of this sacred encounter, I need you to carry 3 eternal truths with you, like precious stones in your heart. First, that restlessness you felt at 2 a.m. isn't insomnia, it's intercession. Heaven has been downloading something into your spirit, preparing you for this very moment when you would finally understand that you weren't broken. You were marked. That sensitivity you've carried isn't weakness, it's God's fingerprint on your soul. Second, your age isn't your disqualification, it's your qualification. Moses at 80, Anna at 84, Caleb at 85 saying, "Give me this mountain." Your wrinkles are wisdom, your scars are credentials, and your years are preparation for the assignment heaven is about to release through you. Third, you are not buried, you are planted. Every season of hiddenness, every moment of feeling forgotten, every day you thought God had moved on without you was actually Him positioning you for a harvest that's about to explode into your life with supernatural force. But beloved, I need you to know something deeper than knowledge, something that settles in your bones. You are not walking this path alone. Right now, at this very moment, the God who created galaxies with His breath is working in your life. He hasn't brought you this far to abandon you now. Romans 8:31 reminds us that if God is for us, who can be against us? That's not just scripture, that's your reality. And look around you right now. In these comments, in this community, thousands of marked ones just like you are awakening to their identity. We're not just viewers on a screen, we're family. We see the fire in your eyes that others missed. We understand the ache in your chest that the world couldn't heal. We recognize the call in your spirit because we carry it too. Let me ask you something that will determine everything about your next chapter. Now that you know who you really are, marked, chosen, planted for such a time as this, will you finally stop apologizing for your difference and start walking in your divine assignment? Before I release you into your destiny, let me place my spiritual hand on your shoulder and pray over you with the authority that comes from 5 decades of watching God move mountains. Almighty Father, creator of heaven and earth, I lift up every precious soul who has stayed with this message until the end. Lord, you see their hearts. You know their struggles. You've counted every tear they've cried in secret, every prayer they've whispered in the dark, every moment they've felt forgotten by the world but remembered by you. Right now, Father, I speak life over their dreams that seem dead. I speak resurrection over their hopes that were buried. I speak acceleration over the promises you've made that seem delayed. Let them feel your presence right now, not tomorrow, not next week, but in this very moment. Let your peace that passes understanding flood their hearts. Let your joy become their strength. Let your love heal every wound that rejection carved into their souls. God, I pray for divine connections to surround them. Bring mentors who will see their value. Open doors that no man can shut. Provide resources they haven't even thought to ask for. Give them boldness to step into rooms they've never entered, and authority to speak words that will shift atmospheres. Most of all, Father, let them wake up tomorrow morning knowing beyond any shadow of doubt that they are loved, they are chosen, they are marked for greatness, and their best days aren't behind them, they're ahead of them. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Now, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell us what stirred in your spirit tonight. What shifted? What awakened? Don't hold back. Your testimony might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to believe they're marked too. If this message reached deep into places you thought were dead and brought them back to life, share it with someone who needs to know they're not forgotten. There's a marked one in your life right now who's been feeling buried when they're actually planted. Be the voice that calls them up. Thank you for spending this sacred time with me. Thank you for opening your heart to receive what heaven wanted to pour into you tonight. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join this family of chosen ones who refuse to stay hidden any longer. Ring that notification bell because your awakening is just beginning, and I want to be here for every step of your emergence. Remember, beloved, the countdown has begun, but it's not counting down to an ending. It's counting down to your beginning. Until we meet again, walk as who you are, marked, chosen, and absolutely unstoppable. God bless you, chosen one. Your time is now.